I wanted to share with you real quickly what makes my approach different and what makes me different than every other health and relationship coach out there. I was actually the first to ground a theory of faith-based complementary therapies for adult survivors of complex and family trauma into the research base. I literally wrote the book on this topic and was a pioneer in the field of holistic psychiatry and recovery ministry. And I found that it's not only important to take these really innovative theories and use them as a solid strategic foundation for recovery so that we're not just throwing spaghetti at the wall or doing this sort of generic life coaching approach of just change your mindset and things will be easier. But really, attachment theory is the most well-studied theory in psychology. And so what I wanted to do and what I found was most helpful with my students over the years was trying to take all that amazing information and boil it down into something strategic, practical, and integrated to their everyday lives, their journey as a mom and being the most present mom that they could be. Whether they are graduating from a toxic tango themselves, perhaps they're in a marriage where they're dancing with the addiction, caretaking journey, right, of complex trauma and love addiction, or whether they are single looking to address their relationship template and find this true love that they always knew was possible. And so that's what's really different and unique about my approach is that I balance the very best of the strategy of the research. I am a peer-reviewed specialist who does have a doctorate in counseling, specifically from a faith-based approach. So what I found in the world that I was working in was that there were so many people having a conversation around the holistic toolbox. So all of the things within the world of holistic health, alternative medicine, holistic psychiatry. So what am I talking about? Conversations about functional medicine testing and naturopathy, natural health, natural healing, yoga therapy, this toolbox of important tools, but they weren't really niching down into the mental health side of things most of the time. I also found this faith-based conversation that a lot of times was completely disconnected to the conversation about the holistic toolbox because Christians were quite honestly pretty freaked out about that. So I made sure to dive into that into the dissertation as well, is specifically addressing the faith-based adaptation of these alternative medicine practices like yoga, like Reiki, like herbalism, so that we made sure we were approaching things from a biblical lens, as opposed to what I found a lot of was in the New Age, it's kind of a free-for-all spiritually. And so to create a safe place for Christian holistics, those who really resonate with the natural world, with the natural approach, and yet also have this spiritual element that they know is really important in helping them connect further with their faith as opposed to all of these practices driving them further from faith, which can happen in the New Age. And then also, there being a lack of cohesion with all of that in the conversation regarding attachment trauma, right? So in relationships, in healing the relationship template specifically, there's a lot of looking out there, looking outside of ourselves, looking outside of, for the answers. Like, what do I say on a first date? How do I handle, my marriage that's falling apart? I'm tired of dealing with child support healings and a lot of, what do I do about this other person, right? Which is often the case with those of us who struggle with toxic tangos, aka codependency. We're worried about what everyone else is doing. And what's unique about my approach is that we're going to be looking at your inner work as opposed to what everyone else is doing. And I believe that is the antidote and the best medicine in this approach is specifically using this shamanic toolbox of intuitive plant medicine as well as these spiritual meditative practices and using the contemplative lens, contemplative neurotheology specifically, in healing God attachment. And once this attachment is healed and working the way it's supposed to, like it does in that 12-step approach of appealing to the sanity of a higher power, I believe that catalyst comes with you for the rest of your life, and you're no longer worried about what everyone around you is doing, whether that's your partner, whether that's, whatever happened in your past. So we don't have to spend years unpacking childhood wounds. We don't have to play the blame and shame game with those who around us that were involved in our upbringing or our childhoods or whatever wounds got us to where we are today, that we're struggling with our adult romantic relationships specifically. And it doesn't necessarily have to be this super allopathic approach either. This can be a holistic journey. where we can holistically use these tools that are so powerful in this container of getting results, that ultimately what we are focused on is this soulmate love and destiny, where really, whether it is waking up out of a tango with your current spouse or your current partnership, or whether it is about ending this pattern within you of serial monogamy or struggling in love, where it seems like, you just can't quite get it to work and you're ready to make some changes, that dealing with it from a holistic perspective is the breakthrough. And so that's what my framework really focuses on. Is the first step being, we're going to stabilize your nervous system. And that's a huge step that is often missed because we're looking outside of ourselves, trying to follow dating advice or marital tips without really looking at but how does complex trauma change this conversation? Because about 50% of people do struggle with this, and so it makes sense. It makes sense that you've struggled. It makes sense that this hasn't been easy for you. And so we are going to really start with you, and we're going to holistically and functionally take a look at what's going on for you and get that stable so that you can sustain the love that you desire to call into your life, either graduating from a tango and perhaps staying with that partner, and that's great, where you guys are both graduating out of the dynamic, or whether you are single and graduating into a place where you are ready to call in and sustain the love of your life using these holistic tools. Then in step 2, we're going to take a look at your own relationship template. This is a game changer. So as opposed to trying to turn to someone else to tell you what to say in relationships, or when to do this or when to do that, or how to, call in the one focused on other things you can't control, we are going to focus on the antidote to codependency, which is doing your own inner healing work. And this will come with you for the rest of your life so that it can stop showing up with bosses and partners and toxic work dynamics and toxic tangos within your relationships, domestic violence, SA, right? All of these things. It can stop manifesting and trying to get your attention because you've dealt with it at the root once and for all. So that's our second step. In the third step, we are focused on the external manifestation of a soulmate. So really getting past the point of only working on the template, of only working on your story, of only working on your nervous system, and into the practicality of how do we succinctly, without taking years to do this, get to the point though where we are focused on this very clear intention of calling in the one. And so that is the third step in the process. And then for those who are on a journey of personal recovery themselves, there's an optional fourth step available where we use this personal recovery from love addiction, complex trauma, toxic tangos, toxic cycles, and birth your healing ministry. So whether you've ever thought about going into healing work or the wellness space, or you're looking to launch something based out of the ashes and the alchemy of your own journey of heartbreak, this is the training for you, where we get you set up with everything you need to successfully grow a practice that nurtures your soul based on this journey that you've been on. So that's what's on offer. That's how you can work with me. My 2 programs are called Abide and Anointed. Abide is a program where you can join me to do your personal recovery work, and Anointed is the program where we work on growing into a healer to heal others as your growing mission and passion on this earth. And I would love for you to join me. So feel free to send me a message in the DMs, to send me an email, info@yogarelationship.co, or hop on a free call. I would love to connect with you, get to know you, hear your story, and share a little bit more about this program with you. So thank you so much for listening, and I can't wait to chat with you more.